Hey guys, it's Damien here from Afritac. Welcome back. As usual, Matt behind the camera. We're here with an exciting episode today here at SA Laser Engraving with Martin. Martin, welcome. Thank you for coming to the channel.
Thank you for having me.
Only a pleasure. Cool. So Martin, I just want you to explain to us how you started SA Laser Engraving, why you started it, and yeah.
Well, I've always been a big firearm enthusiast. In 2018, my son was in the US and we started talking about engraving polymer frames. We didn't really know where to start, but eventually we got to a company that sold the lasers, and he went for training over there. And yeah, that's where it all started. We brought the laser back, and slowly but surely we started engraving frames and people became aware of us. And then after a while we had clients asking us, can we do optic cuts, can we do Cerakoting? So the whole thing just expanded to where we are today, delivering good, excellent products. And yeah, it's been a long journey, learning the curve, but I think we've nailed it and we basically where we want to be.
Awesome. No, that's cool. That's really cool. I know, because also on your Facebook page, you guys are always asking people to name the new designs and the new cuts and all of that. So there's definitely progression from a.
Yeah,
from a
I
side.
think there's so many guys out there that's passionate about firearms, and because we've got a passion for that, we really want to reach out and draw in our clients, you know, to be actively involved in whatever we do, you know. That way the whole gun community sort of buys into this custom firearm scenario where you can have something that's nice and also functional and practical. Yeah.
No, that's cool. I'd just like to mention, Martin, before we continue, guys, anything we discuss here today is only our opinions and can be a suggestion. Please do all the consulting you need to make your decision. And make sure that if someone does work on your firearm, that they are a licensed gunsmith, please. All right, happy
Cool.
with that. Let's get into it.
100%.
Cool. So Martin, I've got a firearm here that I want to kind of use as our base. If a customer walks into your shop and they say, Martin, this is what I got. I've been carrying it for 6 months. I really want to just customize this gun. But more specifically, I want to carry a red dot. Red dots are the thing now. How do I do it? What is your suggestion? Where do I start?
Well, Damien, the truth about optics on firearms, if I have to start in the early 80s, people still tend to buy firearms, specifically rifles with iron sights, and then it slowly started to change. So the whole optic thing started in the 80s with people buying a rifle, fitting a telescope, and the handgun scenario was lagging. And Trigicon started bringing out handgun optics, and that changed the whole thing on optics, where in the 80s people started buying the rifle, and by the time they get their license, they would fit a rifle scope. And that whole thing has changed on the handgun scenario as well. And there's so many advantages for a red dot optic on your handgun. And it's slowly catching on. It's building momentum.
Yeah.
More and more guys are putting optics on, and I don't think it's a fad, because with, like in the hunting rifle scenario, the long distance shooting scenario where they stuck with the scopes, you know, I think with firearm manufacturers bringing out optic ready versions of their standard guns, I think that's the direction it's going. So I would foresee that in the future we will buy a handgun, whether it's an optic ready one or not. We will either fit the optic, or we will either mold the slide to have an optic fitted to that specific firearm.
Okay. So talking about milling, let's go back to my question. I come in and I say, Martin, this is the gun I've bought. I want to add a red dot. Where do I start? What would you recommend?
Well, principally, there's a couple of sectors that you're going to use or applications that you're going to use the firearm for, whether it's EDC, sport shooting, deep concealment. So having a client coming in with a specific firearm, obviously if it's a subcompact, I would immediately know it's for deep concealment. And with having a subcompact gun, will need a specific optic.
Okay. So just to stop you there, so subcompact is maybe something like this, like a Glock 43X?
Like a Glock 43X, a Zig P365 or anything like that.
Okay, cool. All right, so then that's obviously then specifically to the gun. When you get presented the gun, you can give a certain suggestion.
I would immediately see, you know, with a, like for example, a Glock 19, you can use it on the shooting range for target shooting, competing competitively. So there's a couple of scenarios. It can either be an EDC or it can be a sport shooting gun. Okay. So from there, we will sort of determine what is the real need. You know, I'll ask the client questions and find out, you know, whether he's going to use it on a range or is it 50-50, you know, he's going to use it as a EDC and also on the range, you know. Okay. So that will determine what type of optic he's going to fit.
Okay, so then let's use that example, maybe the 50-50 guy. The guy who wants to shoot once a month, but he's predominantly carrying an EDC pistol, and it's not deep concealment. He's got an untucked shirt, or he wears baggy clothing. He works pretty casual, like Matt. So yeah, let's use that as our base, because then people can work with. They can then tailor their thinking to, okay, I'm a sport shooter with this firearm, and I'm a concealed carrier with this firearm. Okay. So let's try and split down the middle. I know it's probably going to be difficult, but let's do our best to give people the examples there.
All right, so typically that will be something like a 19, Glock 17, CZP07, CZP10C, okay, which will double as a range gun as well. In that instance, I would really suggest that he goes something in the range, top range, Trijicon RMR or Holosun 507C, which is the full size type of optics. Advantages of that, you're going to have a nice big glass, and the quality of those optics is, you know, it's good.
Yes, yes.
So in general, having a 50-50 split, that is certainly the way I would go. Okay. Have a nice big glass. Yes. If we talk about a Holosun 507C, there's a slight overhang on the slide.
Okay, and explain the overhang. Is it over the side? So when you draw the gun up to look at your side picture, are you going to see sort of the plate or the bottom of the optic spilling over the sides?
You won't notice that really, because you're looking through the glass at the dot. Okay. So that will sort of just fades away. You won't notice it's hanging over. Okay. So there is a little bit of our clients that's got an issue with an optic overhanging on the side of the slide because it doesn't look right. But there's no real alternative, because if you have a nice wide glass, it's obviously going to overhang on the slide.
And that overhang, Martin, it's not going to catch on a shirt or print maybe a little bit more?
Not at all. Okay. Not at all. And I've got many clients asking me the question, you know, will it not be too big? I think the reality, whether you're carrying outside waist at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, appendix, because of the optic, the positioning on the slide, it will basically be parallel to your body. Okay. So it doesn't matter where you carry it. Yes. It sort of will just follow the line of your body. Okay. So it's not going to have you print extra. Like for example, if you've got a +5 shoe in your magazine, that will make your shirt print. Yes. Where with the optic sitting on the top of the firearm, being parallel to the body, it will just basically disappear. So that is a very valid concern of many clients, and it's not necessary to worry about that, because it will sit flush or straight parallel to your body. Okay,
cool. I think let's maybe look at some of the examples we have here, the caniks, the Glocks, I think we've got a CZ that we can look at, and just maybe take us through your milling packages. I know a lot of these guns are not standard as from, call it the factory. There's a lot of milling and stuff on which we can get to. But I think take us through maybe some of your suggestions. We can start with the 43X, maybe just your suggestion on optic cuts, and obviously it's the micro pistol.
Yeah, okay, so on a 43X you will go with a micro optic. Because you don't want it to hang over like 5-6 millimeters over the side.
Yeah.
That will look odd.
Yes.
So with the micro or the subcompact pistols coming in, we call it slimlines. It will be something like a Holosun 507K, the EPS carry, the new Acra micro. So you will go smaller.
Yes. Okay.
And there's no substitute thinking that you put a red dot on and now you're going to be like Superman and shooting 100%
all comes down
of the time.
To training, eh?
You have to train. You have to spend that time getting used to building that muscle memory with your red dot, you know, because it's a whole new plane that you are using as an aiming point.
Correct.
As a reference. So all in all, training, have the best equipment available to you. That's a winning combination.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And I think, Martin, with that, I know people use the term co-witness sights. So how I understand it is you either have the red dot with maybe standard sights or no sights on your slide at all, and you use the red dot as your primary aiming system.
Okay.
I would assume by why it's called a co-witness is that you still now, instead of having just 2 points with iron sights to reference, you now have 3 where your red dot now joins as that third reference. Would that be correct to assume?
In part, let me put up an example. I was on the range one day with my 19 fitted with a Holosun 507C, and I accidentally put it in lockout mode, so it was off.
Okay.
And I didn't know that, so I got ready, the buzzer went, and up I came, and there was no dot. So luckily I've got co-witness sights.
Okay.
So I could finish the stage with the co-witness sights. Not ideal, but I mean, it worked.
It is.
And it's the same for EDC. If for whatever reason your dot is not on or it's not working as it should, you've got backup iron sights.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That said, there's about 3 different type of co-witness sights. Either no co-witness, in other words, your factory sights is still on the firearm, you're not using that at all. Your dot is your primary and only aiming system.
Okay.
Then you've got a lower 25%, and then you've got an upper 30% co-witness. On a micro dot, it will be a marginal co-witness because the glass is so small.
Yes. Okay.
So you just want to be able to see the top of your sight, the U-notch, and the front sight being able to align through the glass. That is a lower co-witness. If you go with a full-size optic like the 507C or the Trijicon RMR, you can go to a 30% co-witness where you'll see at least maybe 2.5 to 3 millimeters of the U-notch and the front sight. Okay.
Yeah.
So I know there's a lot of confusion when we talk about co-witness, because people think that the iron sights and the red dot must coincide 100%, which is not entirely true, because the iron sights is one system and the dot is another system. And because of the dot sitting on a curved glass, the positioning of that dot is in the middle of the glass.
Yes.
So don't try to look at your iron sights and the dot simultaneously and try to get them aligned.
Okay.
You'll get shot.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's one or the other.
It's one or the other.
Okay.
It's just the co-witness sights, iron sights is a backup.
Okay.
All right. And I'm a big fan of that, and mainly because of the example that I pointed out. So we never know what's going to happen. So like in the engineering world, they call it belts and braces.
Okay.
All right.
Right, Martin, so I know canics are taking the market by storm currently. You can't look at a firearm and not consider a canik. I understand we've got a canik SF here. Will you just chat to us a bit more about it? I know it doesn't look stock, so maybe
this
let's
one
go
is
through the optic and then...
this one is basically fully customized,
Okay.
so we've did our touch to it. The problem with the canik optic ready models is that it's more for the micro optics. Okay, so the whole footprint there is RMSC shield optics. It does come with like a polymer type of plate, adapter plate, so you can change the micro optics. And we've noticed that there's a real need to have a bigger optic fitted to, especially now this SF model. And we went and we did a design where you can now have one of our plates, and you can fit the Holosun 507C onto your canik, which beforehand was not possible. So by doing that, you've got a full-size optic on your SF model, SFT or SFX, whichever one you're choosing. And that's what SA Laser is all about. Being innovative, getting solutions to problems that is every day, and at the end of the day, have what you want. You know? So certain things is not doable. But as far as we are concerned, we always try to get up, work out a solution, and for the caniks, which is sort of taking a huge chunk out of the lock market at the moment, I think this is a good solution that we came up with. And it's not only the 507C. I've got a canik SFX Pro, and I fitted the 509T, which is a unique footprint. I mold the plate for that, and it sits perfectly in there. And that's one of the solutions that I came up with, because I really like the 509T. It's titanium, it's an enclosed emitter, so there's no dust on the range coming into it. So that is really a solution to a problem that I had on my personal gun. So in total, the plates it's made out of steel. It's molded in our shop, and the tolerances is tight. So we try to get, if you drop in that optic, that there's virtually no movement. So we came up with the T-pillar designs. So we haven't got recoil lux, but you can see the actual size of the T-pillar. And there's two things about that. It locates the optic, and having extra thread when you tighten it down makes us getting the plate down as low as possible.
So the thinner the plate,
the thinner the plate,
make the thinner
because
plate,
up to here there's all threads. So that helps us when we pull down and torque it down, that the optic locates properly, and you've got maximum thread. So you can imagine if there was no T-pillars and only recoil lux, the thread would have been like 2 millimeters. Where now we've got at least 5 millimeters of thread.
And it just makes everything more secure. It pulls it down.
If you torque it in place, it's not going to move. And all the screws that that goes with this plate is cut to a specific length, that it doesn't protrude at the bottom of the plate. Having screws sticking down there, it's a no-go area. Especially on the Glock MOS system, and I know many clients that had this problem where the optic comes with screws. They've got a plate that comes with the MOS model, and they put in the plates there, they tighten it to the slide, and now they put the optic on and they tighten the optic. But the screw is too long. So it just bends the plate like a banana. Where all of our Glock MOS plates comes with the right length of screws for that specific optic. You know, so we came up with that solution so that, you know, once you buy that plate, you put it in there, it works.
So what that sounds like to me is there's a solution for every shooter out there with you guys, having thought of what you lacked in your firearm and what you wanted, and you've now made a way to make that possible.
Look, there is certain guns that fitting an optic is not easy. I just prefer not to mill those slides. I can call an example of the Beretta APX, which has got the firing pin block pin sticking through the top of the slide the moment you pull the trigger. Now I know you can make it shorter and you can mill it shallower and have the optic sitting on there, but it's not ideal because that pin going through the top of the slide has got a function.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, and it's not to say that in future we won't have a solution for that, but it is one after the other. You know, so as we progress, we get solutions to problems in regards to optics.
Okay, cool. Martin, thank you so much for everything. Yeah, I'm sure people will find huge value from this. I certainly have, so I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Please like and follow SA Laser Engraving and Cerakoting's Facebook page to keep an eye out for more of their packages on the way. Cool guys, I hope you really found some value in that with Martin. We're going to link all his stuff down in the description. Get a hold of him and yeah, really just stay out there, stay trained and stay safe.